Yeah, this I don't like this as a form of retribution, as a form of justice for Trevor Bauer. To be compensated $300,000 when I'm a Cy Young Major League Baseball player just doesn't really add up. That's like a game
Yes.
check for Trevor Bauer, right? That's one game of mine, damn near, to make up for losing an entire season. A year off of my professional life. This woman also will likely never pay this money. With a number of athletes and high-profile celebrities being pursued both civilly and criminally for crimes against women, there have been many who have lost everything, and deservedly so, but there have also been several cases of proven false allegations that have stained the reputation of several of them as well. One of those men, Dodgers pitcher Trevor Bauer, was just rewarded over $300,000 in a default judgment against his accuser. Samaria, is making women pay for false allegations a good enough deterrent in your eyes?
I do. And I think that obviously there was a whole document set in place, a contract, if you will, that they both agreed upon. And she was supposed to not talk about this false claim that she was paid to resolve these sexual assault claims, right? That was a part of their agreement. And he came out and said, like, she's known to use defamatory language against me, and this is not something new. And I put that clause in there because I knew that she was going to come out and say that I paid her, and I did not. And I think that this case is really sad because this was a guy that literally had it all. He was a Cy Young winner. He had a big deal with the Dodgers. They ended up releasing him after these claims, as well as a 194 game suspension by MLB. So listen, it sucks, but I'm like, yeah, like she needs to pay up because if you didn't want to agree to the terms, then you shouldn't have agreed to the terms. You agreed to the terms and now you're reneging on that. And so now you got to pay up. 22 times she said on social media that he paid her.
Yeah, this I don't like this as a form of retribution, as a form of justice for Trevor Bauer. To be compensated $300,000 when I'm a Cy Young Major League Baseball player just doesn't really add up. That's like a game check for Trevor Bauer, right? That's one game of mine, damn near, to make up for losing an entire season. A year off of my professional life. This woman also will likely never pay this money. Because in these civil cases, what ends up happening is, people just no longer work under a W-2. They become 1099s for everything. They set up shell companies so that, when they go out and do interviews and accrue money, it's under the business and not themselves as individuals. And so theoretically, like this, he'll never see this money. So it doesn't really matter. For all intents and purposes, I don't think she has a corporate job where her paycheck is going to be deducted and those funds sent over to Trevor Bauer. So yeah, cool. But this should be restitution in addition to prison time, in my estimation. If you cost somebody what she cost this man, that is a punishable offense with prison time, in my opinion and estimation. And again, she pursued this civilly instead of criminally, but he should have the opportunity to criminally pursue her to get some justice. I think this is all things do not match in this instance.
So you think that her claims were completely false? See, that's where I'm kind of torn because obviously there was enough evidence there for him to settle. We don't know what the terms of their settlement was. He settled. The MLB, I don't know if they did their own investigation, but obviously the Dodgers felt it was enough there to release him. And then he was suspended for 192 games. And now he plays like in Japan or something like that. So I'm like.
There were several text messages that came out in which it was clear that she was setting this man up. Right? Like before this incident even happened, she was communicating with people in her orbit that she got one, basically, and how she was going to set this play up. And for clarity, one of those text messages literally said verbatim, next victim, star pitcher for Dodgers, right? So that in and of itself leads me to believe that everything that took place in the aftermath of that text message was intentional with malicious intent. And so, yeah, she's been defiant ever since the settlement. She's been defiant that he'll never see a cent from her. She's publicly declared that. And so when somebody is out the gate stating that they will not adhere to whatever outcome of the due process is, then we got to figure out another way to penalize that person because she's living free at that point. And I don't think that's right.
And it
that's
is sad that people in these situations, right, the people that are being accused feel like oftentimes they have to just settle to just kind of like just wipe my hands with it. They don't want to fight it. But I think in this instance, he should have fought back because it literally cost him his career. He should have fought back. He shouldn't have just said, I'm just going to settle out of court with you. It'll be under the table because it didn't matter. He should have fought back and even took this to a trial where all of this evidence could have been to the forefront. It could have been a Johnny Depp, Amber Heard situation where they completely flipped the narrative, you know, in their favor. I feel like he should have fought it.
Yeah, you feel like that, but I'm telling you, I'm fortunate. I've never been in this situation. I have friends who, on a very smaller scale, have been accused of certain things, and over time, were proven to be innocent of the accusations. It is paralyzing for them, you know. And I'm not, but this is when it gets tricky because there are certain people who are guilty of these kinds of things.
Right.
And so it's like, how do you pick and choose? How do you know when to fight? Because maybe there are certain things about his sex life that he does not want to be made public. So sometimes people have other things that they're trying to hide or don't want to be made public by settling. It's not necessarily that I was guilty of this. It's just that maybe he likes to get whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? Like, but he doesn't want his people, his tribe, his community, the world at large to be able to put a certain kind of stigma on him. And so, you know, you get caught up between trying to figure out how to remain private while also protecting your image. And and it's a tough spot to be. I asked you last week or the other day, rather, you know, what would you do in this situation? And it's hard. If you have a son, what do you tell them to do?
I mean, I say fight it. I understand, but I just feel like we've seen time and time again where people are burned and his career is essentially over and there's still not really justice being served. So I feel like you should fight it. In other law news, Mariah Mills reached out to Tony Busby to have him represent her in a case that maybe she wants to file against Zion Williamson, and Busby declined. What do you make of that? That's huge.
I don't know if it's huge. I think Busby is probably still licking his wounds a little bit from what took place with Jay-Z. I think that anybody who's been able to monitor Mariah Mills and just her activity on social media, you would be hard pressed to believe much of what that woman has to say.
And that's what I was saying. Yeah, that was the point I was trying to say, is that obviously if Tony Busby doesn't want to represent you, man, like you really don't have nothing. And I told you this the other day when we talked about it, that I didn't believe that was her lawsuit initially. I feel like she may have saw that and then she's like, well, let me try to say whatever experience I had with Zion. But if Tony Busby, the ambulance chaser, does not want to represent you, you really don't have anything.
I think Tony Busby's best approach is tacking himself onto anonymous women, right? And then in the shadows, working on getting high payout settlements. And so somebody who's as visible and vocal as Mariah is kind of counterculture to the way that he sets up his strategies. So I just think that she's a bad client for him. You know, I don't know what all Mariah Mills' experiences are, but I can tell you what I've witnessed on social media would imply that she has harassed Zion Williamson, you know, for weeks and months on end via social media. And I feel like she should have some sort of restraining order and or muzzle placed on her to stop her from doing that. Literally. And her fingers.
And, you know, while we're at it, she could probably take some of that butt out.
She looks like an ant for sure. But this Zion, like that. Zion's a wild boy. He is
very interesting. He's an interesting character.
A wild boy, man. Out of all the women you have access to, that's what you go for. See, this is why we got to protect everybody. Like
maybe allegedly, I don't know, this is just me running my mouth, but maybe he's into some different stuff and she's the only person that will do that. I don't know.
What you think Zion Williamson is into?
I don't know. I don't even want to think about it. It's nasty. It might involve food. It might.
Don't be fat phobic, okay?
I'm not being fat phobic. He's not fat. He just likes food. He's not fat. He just likes food.
He has a lot of moments where he's overweight. That's what everybody knows that. That's been his biggest struggle of his career, is keeping his weight down. That's a big boy. Anyway, I'm interested to see what the other accuser is saying about Zion. You can say many things about Zion, but these things do not sound as if they're in alignment with his character, the one that we know. But at the same time, what people do behind closed doors is as big as guess to anybody is mine. I have no clue. For 5 years, though. She said she was with him for 5 years, and this is his girlfriend for 5 years.
Yes, 18 years old at Duke. She was with him during that time.
Yeah. That would be... There should be, at this point, some photos that have circulated, because if a girlfriend of 5 years has probably been around to some degree, there should be people who can identify who this person is, and that hasn't quite been the case. So, yeah. It's, again, somebody operating in the shadows. They get to be anonymous while these accusations are made public, and somebody now has to defend themselves against a ghost, essentially. Yeah. And that's a tough thing to do. You don't know where you're getting attacked from. Who knows, man? I don't know. I got a lot of thoughts, a lot of feelings. I have to suppress them because I don't think all of them are right. And I also need to wait for due process to play out. So nobody's guilty. Nobody's innocent until that. Well, people are innocent, actually, until proven guilty. But in general, I try to stay even about it all.
Yes.
Oh, now you on the side of innocent until proven guilty. Oh,
I said they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be. I didn't say anything. That's the law.
Do you not feel that people should be innocent until proven guilty?
They are. But I do feel like historically, victims have not gotten justice. So
you're saying that you do not feel like it should be innocent until proven guilty. You should be guilty and then prove your innocence.
No. I think that there's a difference between me calling somebody guilty and me saying to the victim, I see you. We see you. We're like, it's just a support. It's like, okay, you said this. I'm gonna support you from over here. There's a difference.
You've changed your language, and support is perfectly fine.
I'm not over here on social media up under people comments talking about, girl, I'm with you. It's none of that. But I just think mentally, I'm like, okay, you're a victim. I see you. I support you. That's it.
All right. Well, you all out there, let us know your thoughts. Do you feel like false allegations deserve prison time or simple payment? Punishment enough? You all let us know in the comment section.